Dee, ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Yeah. Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott, and that is Lauren.
Yep.
How are you, Lauren?
I'm well. How are you?
Spectacular.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. It's not really true.
You're manifesting.
I don't even believe in that either.
I know.
Just say stuff and it happens.
If you've tried other things.
If that stuff really works, I'm going to start saying even bigger stuff. I mean, if you're going to manifest, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's really go.
Yeah.
Manifest something huge. The Wilder Show podcast. Instagram, you find us there. Search Wilder Show Pod. If you want to send us email, you can email us here at podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, on the TikTok now and again. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can also engage there. That really helps with the algorithm and such. Mm-hmm. So wherever you do that, wherever you get your podcast, like, rate, follow, subscribe, share. And we appreciate that. Well, we have to talk about the nerd prom. They call it the nerd prom, don't they?
They do. When I got the alert on my phone that this had
happened. Did it say nerd prom?
It didn't say. I don't think it said nerd prom.
You're right.
Not in those two little. Somewhere in the body of the article, it probably did.
Probably
but
did.
Not in the little alert that I got. It was really like, what?
Yeah, I know. We'll get to that in a second. And they call it the nerd prom. It is the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right?
Yeah.
White House Correspondents' Dinner. And they say it's like, it's a prom for nerds. All the nerds get to go to the nerd prom. Well, obviously, we'll talk about what happened. One thing we didn't talk about on the last podcast also is the NFL draft, which took place over the weekend and concluded on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I bring it up only because it's a really interesting little thing about it. Something new this year. It was an inaugural year, and it is started this year because the draft was being held in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the home of Heinz Field. One
of our good Pittsburgh friends actually visited it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. I guess she had a whole video that she had posted from
did she really? How do I not know that?
The draft. I don't know. Do you follow her on social media?
No, probably not.
I'll show you.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway, it was a big deal. And a new thing this year, it's the inaugural Mr. 57 Club member. So brand new, the 57 Club. Whoever is the 57th overall selection in the draft. Mm-hmm. So you have a bunch on the first day, a bunch on the second day, a bunch on the third day. And the 57th was going to come sometime on Friday, the middle day. Yeah. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And who was it? The Chicago Bears had, I thought it would have been cool if it could have been the Pittsburgh Steelers that had the 57th pick. That'll become clear in a second as to why. But it was the Chicago Bears that had the 57th pick, and they chose Logan Jones. Boy, sounds corn-fed, doesn't he? I think he did play at Iowa, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean you think the name? Just the name?
Yeah, it's Logan. He sounds like
Logan
he's
Jones.
a big white guy.
Yeah.
Logan Jones. He was the 57th overall pick, second round, in the 2026 NFL draft. And as the 57th pick, he was the inaugural Mr. 57 Club member. And
Tell him what he won.
Well, he receives a custom jacket, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But he also receives a lifetime supply of Heinz ketchup. Heinz and 57. Mm-hmm. Got it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the draft is over. Mr. 57 probably got more attention than, even the 47th pick.
Yeah.
And, of course, he has a lifetime supply of ketchup.
Who doesn't want that?
If he works it out well, he could end up being also the spokesman, and then he could have that as an endorsement.
Yeah.
See, that would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. You get the lifetime supply, but then also the clips and everything are played, and you're so proud to be
Mr. 57.
Anticipation, wasn't that? That was Heinz. That wasn't Hunt. That wasn't Hunt.
I think it was Heinz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anticipation. Bring that back.
Yeah.
His anticipation of being in the NFL for the first time, and he's waiting, and it's anyway. Kind of a cool little thing.
Very much so.
I had a weird prediction that I made to you, not on the podcast, after the podcast dropped on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
When the podcast dropped on Friday, we were talking, and I was like, you know what? Forgot to talk about the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
That's right.
The White House Correspondents' Dinner, I said on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
is coming up tomorrow night.
Yep.
And I really wished that we had said something about that in the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't. And then I said something like, I hear the president is going to give an hour-long speech. And I said to you, you correct me if I'm wrong, I said, I want to go on record. I think something will happen before that will impact that speech.
Yep, you did.
Now, how strange is that? Now, obviously, I didn't mean what it was.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was something will happen in the war, and it will be something that will allow people to be more sympathetic to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gather us all together. Like I said something will happen, and I think you said like what? And I said, I don't know, like an attack or something. If there were an attack, and then he had to respond to it, and then he's able to give the speech, it will impact that speech. He will be able to give a speech that is more well received.
Yeah.
If people are sort of galvanized, is that the word?
Mm-hmm.
They're brought together
Yeah.
because of this thing. It's a common experience.
So you didn't think that something was going to happen that would affect the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but
No.
something would happen before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something before he gave his speech,
Yeah.
that he would have to give a different kind of speech, and it would be more well received than the normal, or maybe he would give a kinder speech
Yeah.
than one he would give.
Well, okay. So
You see what I'm saying? So he
yeah.
might give a kinder speech
Uh-huh.
because of what just happened. He wouldn't be able to sort of rail against the media the way that he would normally.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he didn't give a speech because they canceled the thing because
Yeah.
of what happened.
Yeah.
We'll get to some details in a second. Let me get this straight. We're having a correspondence dinner in a hotel at a time of war. We're in the middle of a war where security has been breached at the hotel. How is it even possible?
Is that the same place that they've had the Correspondents' Dinner?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. But times are different. How is it possible to have an event with the president and the vice president and almost the whole line of succession
Mm-hmm.
at a hotel with a soft perimeter? It's a hotel where people can stay at the hotel. But then there's also a ballroom area. You've been to stay places like that. It's like convention center type thing.
Sure.
It was a DC Hilton, right?
It was.
With a soft perimeter. They have a thing called mag and bag. Mag and bag.
What does that mean?
Mag is the magnetometers, and
Oh, okay.
bag is the searching of bags.
Okay.
So you have, where does the mag and bag take place? In a soft perimeter, see, where that took place was upstairs. It was upstairs, but then you could just go down some stairs or go down an elevator down to the other floor where the actual dinner is taking place.
Okay.
The ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
The ballroom is not at the same level where they had the mag and bag. Okay.
You're right.
So they're up there, and then you get magnetometrics or whatever, and they search the bags, and you go through, and then you go down the stairs, and you go into the. But a lot of places, well, they do that mag and bag even outside the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get in unless you have been through security. Think of it like being at the airport, sort of like that. Anyway, we're having this thing at a place like that at a time of war with a soft perimeter. And how weird, after it happened, to be told the president wants to continue. How could anyone?
How do you do that?
How could anyone know the source of it all?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was resolved, whether it was contained. I mean, you couldn't possibly know that in an instant, right?
Right.
And obviously the Secret Service did not allow it. But just odd to have that even be the thought of anyone, given that we are literally at war with the greatest exporter of terrorism and the giver of terror cells. And we're having this like we always do. A couple things, and we'll get into the particulars. Did you see the thing that Caroline Leavitt said? Very odd. Early on, she's being interviewed by, of course, Fox News.
Yeah.
And she's talking to Fox News reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that the president, this is a quote, ready to rumble, and there will be some shots fired tonight.
Really?
Quote, it's a video. You can look at it.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
Now, separately, that was the press secretary,
Yeah.
Caroline Leavitt. Now, she's up there sitting by the president.
Right.
You get the president, the first lady, then Caroline Leavitt right there. Her husband was seated at the Fox News table. And is it Aisa Hosni? She's a Fox News correspondent.
Mm-hmm.
So she's reporting from inside the venue. After the shooting, she was in the middle of recounting a conversation that she had with Nicholas, is it Riccio or Riccio?
I don't know.
Anyway, who's the press secretary's husband. Before the event, she's talking to him, and now she's recalling this after the event. So after the event has happened, and she is still on the floor, she's doing an interview with Fox News. And she says about the press secretary's husband, he leaned over and said, I watch you on TV. You do a great job, but you need to be very safe, she recalls. He was very serious when he said this to me and kind of looked around the room and said, there are some, and it cut off right there. Now, to be fair, it's being sold as, hey, you combine those two things. You got the press secretary saying shots are going to be fired tonight, and you have her husband sort of appearing to warn a Fox News reporter, hey, looking around the room, there's
something crazy's about to happen.
And it clicks off.
Right.
Most people understand that there were huge cell phone problems in the room, so probably was nothing. But I only bring it up because I think people will try and bring it up that it was something that probably was not.
Well, and I think it was reported later that you are correct. It was nothing. She was able to fill in the details after that. And she said, cell phone reception down there is practically non-existent. Our phones were cutting out all the time. And she said what he was saying to her was, I'm a fan, you know, I watch you, you do a great job, but you do really need to be careful in, you know, it's a crazy world we live in.
Right.
She said, which were, I'm paraphrasing, sentiments that had already been shared with her by her own father and other people in her family who care about her. So it was not it was not as
dire,
weird as it seemed in the moment, or maybe it didn't even seem that weird. Maybe it's just because we're so highly attuned to things like that now. People are everybody's a sleuth. Everybody's trying to, you know, figure out what's going on.
Cole Thomas Allen of Torrance, California. It's about 18 miles southwest of L.A., I think. Taken into custody at the dinner on Saturday night. This guy traveled there with a shotgun and with a handgun and lots of ammunition.
On a train.
And a bunch of knives. And on a train from California to Chicago, and then Chicago to D.C.
That's a long train trip.
It is. And he wrote a manifesto. We'll take a look at some of that in a little bit. Social media profile for a guy with the same name and photo appears to match the suspect. Worked part-time for the last 6 years at a company that offers admissions, counseling, and test prep services for aspiring college students. He sent a message to friends and maybe just family members just minutes before the attack.
Yeah.
31 years old. He described himself as the friendly federal assassin, and he railed against, all kinds of things. We'll take a look at that in the manifesto that was obtained by the Associated Press. He was a guest at the hotel, and you saw the video, right? As he runs around.
No, I've seen still photography, but I've not seen the video.
The video has him like running past the bag and mag area where you're swiped and have your bags searched. I mean, he's running. I mean, like full out running fast.
Do we know the details of how? I mean, he was a guest in the hotel. I know that. How he got the weapon inside that perimeter?
Define perimeter. The perimeter really was right there. The perimeter is only where they have the magnetometers. And that's why many people believe, why would you have such a soft perimeter? Why would you have it be where someone can get even in the same building with a weapon? So, it was not secure. When we've been in places around the country where there's a convention center part, there's a hotel part, and a convention center part. Imagine if you can where would that perimeter be around that part, that wing of the facility? What if you were staying there at the hotel, and there is some convention that you're not a part of, but there is some convention or some big gathering or some big meal. We've been to places like that where we have a registration. You have to register, and then what do you have to do then after that to get in that big room? Sometimes it's pretty soft. Now, we've been to places before where it's not the president or the vice president, but we've been to places where there's an event where it's a little more secure. But even then, so what is it that they had to show in this case to get in? It didn't matter for this guy because this guy didn't get in this way. This guy just ran past it. So it wouldn't really have mattered, except that if that had been hardened on the outside, then stopping him would have been very far away from the event. This was just down the steps and through the open doors, and they were open. And he could have gotten there, but he didn't. But the point is, how soft was it? You know that people didn't even have to show their ID? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
All they had to do was show their invitation and their table assignment. Think of it this way, when we've gone to really soft things like this, where we've walked up, we could have picked up anybody's name tag.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on and walked in. There have been times when I have failed, you have not, of course, but maybe I have failed to register, and I'll show up at the place and just say, or maybe not say anything and be waved in. This wasn't that soft, but it also wasn't hardened at all. So why at a time of war where the president is and the vice president, the whole line of succession, why would we not have it stepped up or, ramped up? It doesn't make sense.
Maybe I'm crazy, but and maybe this would be impossible. But I'm not picturing. I'm thinking of a city hotel, the kind of places that you're talking about, where we've been to events in a hotel where there's also a ballroom convention center like that. Quite often, those are on giant parcels of land where the convention center and ballrooms are separated from the hotel itself. What I'm picturing here doesn't seem like it would allow for that much space. But I'm thinking, if you're going to have the president and the vice president, and like you said, the cabinet members, and it almost seems like, wouldn't you have to have like a sweep of the whole building? If you have guests coming in and out, anybody could be planning stuff or...
This was the level of security that they had to get someone in the same room with a sitting president of the United States. I just think it was pretty soft at a time of war. I don't get it. Let me read part of the manifesto. This is the way it concludes. He writes, I don't think he writes like a 31-year-old man. Now, you and I have had conversations before where we read people's writings, and we've disagreed on whether that is, Tyler Robinson writing very flowery, almost poetic things in his text exchange, I found surprising. But this is this guy. His name is Cole Allen. He concludes his manifesto, "Thank you all for everything. Sincerely, Cole, quote, Cold Force, quote, friendly federal assassin, Allen." Oh, P.S. Okay, now that all the sappy stuff is done, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? Sorry, gonna rant a bit here and drop the formal tone. Like, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, is nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. When I say like, this is what he's writing. Like, the one thing that I immediately noticed walking into the hotel is a sense of arrogance. I walk in with multiple weapons, and not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane. And I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actual competent leadership again. Like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought name something, in here, and no one would have noticed, I'll paraphrase, anything. Actually insane, he writes. Oh, and if anyone is curious how something like this feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will, for all the people whose trust this betrays. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. And those are his last words. I mean, he's not dead. Those are his last words in the manifesto. Okay,
so he was surprised about the lack of security, too.
He was.
He was as shocked as we are.
And he wrote that. He had written it, obviously, ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't...
and then he dispatches it to his family like 3 minutes. Now I'm doing it. Like 3 minutes before the event, before he does his thing.
You kind of just made my point a little bit. I didn't think there was anything unusual about the language he used. That
like
sounded pretty normal.
All right. Okay. The president was in rare and I thought perfect form. You probably didn't see that either. The press briefing on Saturday night after correspondence dinner. It was great. It was pitch perfect. He was tempered. He was kind. He was complimentary to the press. Very much a kumbaya moment, which that is a moment that will not last.
Yeah. Probably.
The press, you obviously didn't see last night's 60 Minutes either. The press seemed softened by it all a little bit, knowing both sides would at some point return to their corners and then come out fighting. We just didn't know if it'd be the next round or the next round. It was the very next round. The president was on 60 Minutes being interviewed by Norah O'Donnell on Sunday night. Now, remember, 60 Minutes and CBS, that's that whole Paramount thing, remember?
Yeah.
And they kind of cozied up to the president a little bit. And Barry Weiss is now in charge of CBS. And they're very much more sort of Trump friendly because in their view, Trump helped them out in the whole Paramount deal. Anyway, Barry Weiss, it's a girl, Barry, Bari, I think. Weiss is at the helm and is more Trump friendly. And I'm sure that the president thought he would be treated better than he was. Norah O'Donnell asked Trump for his reaction to the manifesto and allegations. We read just part of the manifesto. Allegations that the suspect appeared to make about him, about the president, and it prompts the president to say, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people. Then he said, yeah, he did write that. I am not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody. You read that crap from a sick person. I got associated with all that stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones who were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. He's saying that to Norah O'Donnell. Yeah. I read the manifesto. He's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things. Norah O'Donnell tried to say, but Mr. President, that's not my words. Those are right. Mm-hmm. But there are lots of words she could have read out of that. Sure. She chose those words, and Trump tells her, you shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead. Let's finish the interview. You're disgraceful. It was really, and honestly, I'm real slow to defend the president when he does stuff like that. But out of all the things she could have brought up, she brings up this thing and they hide behind. Well, it's not me. I mean, I'm not saying it. I'm reading the quote from a crazy person.
Yeah.
This guy is a crazy person. But it's not me. I'm just going to read his stuff where he accuses you of things. And I just want to give you a chance to respond, to this crazy person. Yeah. That is pretty cheap journalism, I think. Mm-hmm. So the president hates the press so much. Guess what he did on Sunday morning?
What?
Early Sunday morning, the president makes a phone call to Jonathan Karl, who is ABC News chief Washington correspondent. Mm-hmm. Right after 7 o'clock in the morning, on a Sunday morning, the president calls Jonathan Karl to check on him and see how he's doing.
Wow.
After all that had happened the night before. All you have to do is Google bad things the president has said about Jonathan Karl, and it's plenty. He has called out Jonathan Karl when he thought Jonathan Karl was wrong. But here was the president the morning after.
Yeah.
12 hours after it happened. And he's calling Jonathan Karl to make sure he's okay. We'll get to Scattershoot in a second. I am not as big a Jimmy Kimmel fan. I don't really like any of it. We talked about it before. Yeah. I don't really like any of those shows. None of those shows really has stayed pure. Of all of them, it might be Jimmy Fallon. that I would like maybe more than the others, but I really don't like any of them. They've all just become promotional tools for. I mean, ABC is ABC Disney, and you got CBS, it's Paramount, and all those things. We talk. NBC is NBC Universal, and so you got movies coming out to Universal, and those people can't go on the other place. You have to go on NBC. You can't go on the show for ABC or the show for CBS, and CBS doesn't want you because that Universal movie that's coming out is a competitor for the Paramount movie that's coming out, and we can't be in bed with our enemies. We have to only promote our own, and because of that, you get this very, very more generic than ever. The host is given the questions to ask the guest. The guest is ready for the questions that are going to be asked. Somebody says
the guest has told some pre-screener a story.
That's right. I'm a cook. I like to cook. Ask me about cooking. I'm sort of a bit of a cook. Oh, I understand. And you're a bit of a cook, aren't you? Hey, Jimmy, I'm glad you asked because just this last. It's just it's so staged and so fake. I can't stand it.
Late night since Conan, I don't think. I mean, I've watched every once in a while if somebody was going to be on, but more often than not, I don't even know I don't keep track of it anymore. I mean, we used to have one of those shows to keep up with, maybe two or maybe three. You might watch The Tonight Show, and then you would watch
Merv Griffin in the afternoon,
and then you're going way back. Yeah, I wasn't even really thinking about
Jack
that.
Parr.
Yeah, well, I did. That was a little bit before my time, I think. But yeah, there's so many now. Too many.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel, I think, has been buoyed by that thing he went through where he did the Charlie Kirk thing, right?
Yeah.
And the president said, shame on you and blah, blah, blah. And ABC, took him off for a while. And then he grew stronger than ever. He was like being fed while he was off.
Yeah.
And he came back, stronger than ever. And that first time back, and he thanks it's all performative. I can't stand any of it.
I think wiser voices too are telling him, just get off of it. Stop letting him poke you like that. I think there are voices around Jimmy Kimmel, people around Jimmy Kimmel who are probably telling him, drop this thing with the president. It's not you don't need it. It's bringing you down. You're letting him push your buttons. Don't do it. Move on. Do something else. And I think it seems to me like he just cannot let it go.
Well, he did a thing. We talked. No, we didn't talk about it. They had an illusionist or a mentalist. The host that night was going to be is it Oz? It's Oz. Oz Perlman, and he's a mentalist.
Yeah,
it's like a magician of the mind. He can read minds or something like that. Anyway. So Jimmy Kimmel, on his Thursday night show, did sort of a fake roasting of the president. Like, since you're not going to have a comedian, I'll do it. And he stood up there with a black tie.
Yeah.
And he stood behind a podium and gave a fake
monologue.
Yeah. Right. And they would cut away to maybe pictures of Melania or Barron in the audience.
In the fake audience.
But it was from like the State of the Union address. So Melania Trump has urged ABC to take action against Jimmy Kimmel. And the president just yesterday has called for Jimmy Kimmel to be fired for something that he did. During a parody of the White House Correspondents Association dinner speech on Thursday's edition of the show. So Jimmy Kimmel jokes, "Our First Lady, Melania, is here. Look at her. So beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow."
That's ridiculous.
It isn't funny.
It's not funny. It's inciting. It is inciting. It's not funny at all.
So the First Lady in a statement yesterday called on Kimmel's network, ABC, to take action. Here's what she wrote. "Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness in America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening and spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community?" It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great note. And then the president came out after that and called for him to be fired. It's not going to happen. But, at some point, I know, it's all the whatabouts. But honestly, if this had been in reverse, if someone had talked about, I don't know, the way some people were unalived in the old slavery days, and if we had an African-American president and someone had, just made a joke, it's a fake roasting. It's not that big a deal. They're just words.
What about my free speech?
It's a joke. So we'll see what happens. I don't think much is going to happen. I hope it does. But honestly, decent people, I'm slow to ever tell anybody else what they should do. I can't imagine why decent people would continue to watch that show. Oh, it is a time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right.
I have a little animal good news, bad news for you.
Love animal good news, bad news.
I know you do. Salmon are swimming farther than ever. And you know why?
After they're trying to, I don't know. Let me guess. It takes them going farther to get the food or to find the girl salmon.
No, it's cocaine in the wastewater.
What?
It is cocaine pollution in our wastewater.
Wait, you mean it jazzes them up and it makes them?
It does.
Oh my!
It's actually it's not the cocaine itself. It's the drug's main byproduct, and I practice this benzoylucanine.
All righty.
Benzoylucanine is actually wastewater treatment plants. They treat for things like cocaine and things that you might find in the wastewater of humans, but they don't fully process the metabolites. Our waterways are becoming increasingly contaminated with pharmaceuticals, illegal drugs, and those pollutants are seeping into, of course, marine animals. But it seems like cocaine specifically has been found in sharks, shrimp, mussels, and eels. So we don't know how the cocaine is affecting most of those, most of the sea life that it contaminates, but they have done a study on young Atlantic salmon that were found to have been exposed to that metabolite that I was talking about before. And it seems like that the compound that is created when human bodies break down that drug, which then, of course, gets excreted into our wastewater, the salmon swam farther than their sober peers in a Swedish lake, which is according to a research study that was just published last week in the journal Current Biology.
See, here, I've said this for how long? The young Atlantic salmon today are not like the young Atlantic salmon were when we were younger.
They're trouble.
I mean, today they got this thing going on. Next thing we hear, they're going to have to take the edge off with a Xanax. I've heard of this kind of stuff before. Stuff that is in society that makes it in our wastewater that then is sort of dumped back into the real water, and we don't clean it up until it comes back to us. At some point, somebody's going to say, and I'm sure it's not an idea I would have to give to the environmentalist, but some environmentalists would say, listen, before we turn this water back, to the groundwater, we should probably make sure we're sending it back in a way that isn't contaminated. Well, if we contaminate I sound like a real eco person, but if we contaminate our wildlife, we contaminate the fish, all the creatures of the water, isn't it only a matter of time, we're told, until it comes back poorly on us?
I am no scientist, obviously, but I think part of the problem might be, and somebody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, podcast@wildershow.com. I think part of the problem is they can't keep up with all of the stuff that is getting into we keep doing crazier and crazier and crazier things, and they have to know what they're looking for. And when you say that, when you find out that it's not even really the cocaine itself, it's a byproduct of the cocaine, they can treat for the cocaine, but one of the, one aspect of the cocaine, one metabolite is not affected by the way they treat the wastewater for the cocaine. I mean, how can you even keep up with that?
Haven't we heard this kind of thing before was it about contraceptives maybe? Did something
in the wastewater? Yeah.
Did something about the use of contraceptives, the pill, or whatever, and then it's going to have an impact on I don't know. It
like
seems
that same kind of impact on fish.
That it was just in the water. Yeah. That you could test a fish, and the fish would test positive for. I'll give you an example. When we went to Bolivia, if you go to Bolivia, you can drink what's called coca tea.
Yeah.
Coca tea is just tea. It's tea that is made from leaves, but the leaves there happen to be the coca plant. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are visiting a place that has 14,000 feet, 12,000 feet, 13,000 feet, or higher, you have a lot of altitude sickness. And one of the things when you land at the airport in La Paz, Bolivia, so you're landing at about 12,000 feet. You're landing quite high.
Wow.
As you get off the plane, they will give you coca tea.
Is that help? Is that to help you?
It mitigates against the altitude sickness. And the problem is, if you were to take a drug test a week or two later, you would test positive for cocaine. Now, it's not cocaine, but you have that little element of stuff that is in the thing.
Yeah.
By the way, same thing. If you were to eat a poppy seed bagel, you could test positive for heroin because poppy is the root of heroin. Anyway, in that same way, little tiny things that you think couldn't make a difference, all of a sudden do make a difference, including the stuff that is secreted out into our wastewater and show up later in fish.
In fish and also in our drinking water. Oh, one quick thing too about ultra processed foods. Yeah, I think I talk about this every time we're together now, and it might just be that this is just my algorithm now. Is the ultra processed foods? Yeah. This is just a short thing. We talk about all of the ills and evils of ultra processed foods. Apparently, they're also really bad for our attention span. The more you eat, it's not really a direct correlation, but might as well be. The more you eat, the shorter your attention span gets too. So add it to all of the other things like your blood sugar and your blood pressure and your weight gain and just feeling overall sluggish. It's all the ultra processed foods. So more good news about that.
I was eating something the other day. I know what it was. I was going to ask you if you think if these things would fall into the ultra processed food category. I had watched a thing about how they make Doritos. Very troubling it was really actually. So the thing you're told about, you don't want to see sausage
how the sausage
being made.
Is made. Yeah.
But there is something I really do like to eat, and usually you can buy them at a truck stop. They're not available really everywhere, but I do see them every now and then in the store, like the normal store for normal people. But it is a thing called Andy Capp's hot fries.
Yeah, not good for you.
Those are
ultra processed.
They are
1,000%.
See, I had a feeling because they are so good. They're hot, but they're not that flaming hot. They're not flaming
good.
hot. No. I think they're good.
Do you really think they're good?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I bought some recently, and I ate them. And if you buy a big enough bag, you can eat some and then save some in your car for next time.
You have to you can't do that anymore. That's so bad for you.
I know, but it tastes so good. Anyway, Andy Cap, because somebody else tried to do the Andy Cap hot fries things, and they're not exactly the same. It's not that flaming hot, the thing that some people do with flaming hot Doritos.
Are they like Takis?
Cheetos.
No, Takis are really big with the kids.
Yeah. I don't like those. I don't like those that much. But the Andy Caps. You have to get the original, the Andy Caps version.
You don't. Please don't get those. Okay. Don't anybody who's listening eat those.
So you're saying they are ultra processed.
I don't even have to look at the label to know. I don't have to look at the nutrition facts on the back to know. Those are terrible for you. Just say no. That's what I'm going to say. Just say no to the Andy Caps. What are they? Andy Caps hot
fries.
Hot fries. Yeah. Don't eat them.
Okay.
A very good weekend for King of Pop.
Oh, the movie, the Michael movie.
Yeah, they call it a highly authorized portrayal of the King of Pop.
Yeah. By the way, any highly authorized portrayal of Michael Jackson, is not entirely complete.
Right.
Anyway.
In fact, well, good for him and good for his family, who I think I did not see it, but I've heard that the list of producers is just a list of the Jacksons. Not all of the Jacksons. Maybe Janet Jackson is not really associated with this.
Really?
And I'm not. That's only what I've heard. Well, his nephew Jafar Jackson plays him, and apparently does a pretty good job of playing his uncle. But it opened. I think they were expecting like a $50 million opening or something. It opened much bigger than
it's
that.
Almost 100.
$97 million in the U.S. and Canada.
It's like 224 or something worldwide.
$217.4 million global opening, which is a new high for a music biopic.
Yeah, biopic, I think is what they say.
Yeah.
Biopic. Back before we knew all the things about him that we think we know. Who knows, but that we think we know. His music was catchy. It was Thriller was good. What was the one with Eddie Van Halen? Was that Beat It?
Beat It.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There was a whole thing there where, according to what I saw, and I'm not going to see the movie, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I saw some story because you get fed these things when this is in the news. And so you see little clips of things. And it was some interview, and he's passed now, hasn't he, Eddie Van Halen?
He has.
Yeah. It was some clip of Eddie Van Halen explaining that the higher-ups had said, yeah, this is not right. There's no way that this guitar solo is way too long. And that Michael had said, he just wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that they did it. And of course, it was, arguably one of the
giant hit.
One of the most interesting pairings of people in music to have Eddie Van Halen with Michael Jackson. So anyway, it was just, I'm sure people love it. And I won't say what I've said before. You have said before that this thing that I won't say, I will tell everyone at Walmart when I'm a greeter. I said this one thing about Michael Jackson that you, I think to this moment, and again, this is over almost 40 years,
right,
you say is the single funniest thing I've ever said.
I think it is the funniest thing you've ever said.
Oh, I hate that I can't share it.
I know. I'm sorry.
It is funny, though.
I'm sorry.
Would you just attest?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even now you think it's funny.
I think it's the fun. There have been a lot of funny things, but I think that is the funniest thing you've ever said. A lot of it was timing and the unexpected nature of it, and
the delivery too.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry we can't.
Had an understated delivery, as I recall.
It did very much
understated,
so.
But the words were stark.
Yeah. Well, and more on the movie. Part of the problem with they did have to spend a lot of money on recuts, $50 million for reshoots on the movie. I think you and I talked about this before. There was something in it that couldn't be in it because of a previous lawsuit filed by one of Michael Jackson's.
Can we say victims? Yeah.
Somebody who had filed a claim against him. Yeah.
It was part of. This is the weirdest thing, because you would think that someone who had wrong done to them, and if they had won a lawsuit, that they would want that out, that this person had done this thing. And so they were going to include something about this guy's story, the quote victim's story. But the victim, there was a settlement. And the victim, as part of the settlement, said, okay, I'll take the money or whatever, and you can never use this story or manipulate it or have a version of it or have a story of someone else based on me ever in a book, in a movie, in a whatever. And so the very odd thing is, one of the reasons why the story of that person is not in the biopic is because they didn't want to be in it. Now, probably it's because it would also not have told. I mean, if they, they're already going to shoot the second one. That, right?
Well, see, that's what I was going to say.
Okay, I'll let you tell.
So one of the, I was going to ask if you knew the way they got this guy's story out of it, and it's just they reworked the movie to make it end in 1988 before there were any accusations made. The movie ended in 1988. Now, as bad as things once looked for this movie, it obviously huge hit. The total production cost came close to $200 million. And to defray those costs, Lionsgate sold their international distribution rights, and a sequel is already in development. And a third film after that is not inconceivable.
Sometimes a follow-up movie is not great, that they're only doing it to make more money.
Do you think part of the reason I'm not going to see this movie is because doesn't it seem like you've seen, like maybe it's part of, well, first of all, we lived through it. I mean, we're of the age that we lived through it. I guess there are a lot of fans who were not even born when so much of his early success happened.
I saw a thing, some review, I didn't read lots of reviews or anything, but I think I saw some review that said it was a soundtrack in search of a movie.
Yeah.
It was a soundtrack in search of a story.
Yeah.
And the thing about
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury was an interesting movie. It was that same thing. Basically, if you liked the music, go see it. But
you were going to like the movie.
Basically, they found a way to shove in a few things about a story between a soundtrack. And that's fine if you want to go to a movie that's basically a soundtrack.
Well, I think a lot of people think this first movie was nothing but a money grab. So, and if it did so well, why would they not do a second and a third? And just a few more things, too. Have you heard about the guy who, it was a big Lego scam recently? I swear, this falls under the heading of people who, if they would use their powers for good, the things that we could get done. Jarrell Augustin of California had a great scam going. Okay. He was buying Lego sets. Part of the problem is he was buying them at Target, and Target has a pretty good, apparently, loss prevention program. Okay. So he was buying these big Lego sets at Target, taking them home, opening the box very carefully, selling off the pieces online. So he would pull out all the little minifigs and all the little bricks, and I don't know how he was selling them, but reselling them online and then filling the box with pasta.
What?
And because pasta, shake it, what does it sound like?
Oh, Legos.
It sounds exactly like Legos.
And then he'd go back and he'd return it back in?
He'd seal up the box and take it back to Target.
Stinker.
He made $34,000.
Where is he now?
By doing this. Well, now he's been arrested. He's been arrested by the Irvine PD.
And I bet it's a real jail, not a Lego jail.
It's not, I think it is. It is a real. It is a real jail. Yeah, he sold. He stole 70 of those Lego sets.
That stinker.
Sold off the pieces. No. I'm kind of surprised it took him that long. He bought and returned that. I mean, I'm sure it was all over the place. I'm sure he was at many different Target stores. But big. But just keep this in mind, kids. No, I shouldn't say it like that. But Target has crack loss prevention teams, so that's not where you want to use your talents for ill. And one more thing: have you heard about the 91-year-old grandmother in Ohio? She was. There are some cities that you can, if you live alone, you can sign up for a wellness check from the city. Okay. And every evening at a certain time, the city will call you to make sure that you're okay.
Wow.
So this 91-year-old woman, it is like a friend, yeah. Well, this 91-year-old grandmother in Ohio she didn't answer the phone when they called. Okay. And I don't know how many times they call, but after a certain number of checks, then they'll call your emergency contact.
Well, because that's the whole point, isn't it? The whole point is you're elderly. Yeah. You're not doing it to have someone make you feel better, but it's to make sure you're okay. Yeah. And if you don't respond, then it's like they have to take action.
Yeah, but I think they probably called more than once. They might have called once and then called again, and after some number of calls to which she did not respond, her emergency contact was notified. And it was her daughter, and her daughter said, no, she should definitely be home at this time of the evening, but the daughter couldn't reach her either. So they sent the police, and the police let themselves in forcibly to her home after she didn't answer the door, and they found her in her bedroom playing video games.
She holds up one hand and says, I'm wired in.
Wait.
I'm wired in.
One more level. It was a happy ending. The police were not upset. Everybody was relieved. And maybe they'll just turn her ringer up a little bit.
So she's still here, and for her, even in 92?
91.
91.
Yeah.
Even for her, not game over.
I have a whole new list of things that I might get my mom for Mother's Day.
That is a Wilder Show podcast. We're on Instagram. You'll find us there at Wilder Show Pod. If you want to send us email podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. Comment wherever you get us. Thumbs up, like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Also on the TikTok now and again. And Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Do